to another 8/16/32-bit. I'm your host, Learned Rob, and today we're going to be looking at something which holds a special place in my heart. I'm talking about the Sega Master System. Now, for those of us who grew up outside the United States and Japan, the Sega Master System is quite possibly the definitive 8-bit console. Released by Sega in the late 1980s, it went on to dominate the European and South American markets, and to an extent the Australian markets as well. Now, the Master System was an 8-bit console, based on the Zilog Z80, which was a pretty ubiquitous processor at the time. It wasn't immensely powerful, however, compared to many of the other consoles it was competing against, such as the Atari 7800 Pro System and Nintendo's NES, it was a lot more powerful and gave a more modern feel to its games. Games were more colourful, they sounded better. However, it couldn't break the Japanese market and it couldn't break the North American market. Nintendo had a real grip on those. So, for a lot of gamers around the world, the Master System is somewhat of a mysterious beast. However, like I said, especially for those of us in Europe and South America and Australia, it was the quintessential piece of hardware. Now, when I received my Master System, I had to share it with my brother, and we got it, I think it was about a year or so after we'd got a Sinclair ZX Spectrum Plus 2A, and the difference in the quality was night and day. We went from the Spectrum with its low resolution and its color clash and its very basic audio to this bright, almost arcade-like set of graphics and sound coming from the Sega. And it was fun. Like many Sega owners in Europe and around the world, we ended up with Alex Kidd in Miracle World as our built-in game because we got the Sega Master System 2 hardware. We also bought a couple of games to go with it, which I'll show in the video. Dynamite Ducks, Basketball Nightmare. And it was a fun time. It was my proper introduction to console gaming. My next door neighbour had an Atari 2600 and I played on that a small amount, but compared to games like River Raid or Pitfall, everything on the Master System was a massive, massive step up. So, without further ado, let's have a look at some games. So, first up is Alex Kidd in Miracle World, a game that quite literally every Master System owner played at some point. This was one of Sega's first attempts at creating a mascot for themselves in the Mario vein, and in many ways the game has a lot of similarities with the Mario series. It is a cute platformer. It has a difficulty curve which one may say is somewhat tough, but it is exceedingly playable. Now, you'll see from this footage, I'm not brilliant at it. In fact, I'm terrible at it. I'm terrible at most platform games. Always have been, probably always will be. But this was my first example of playing on a Master System. The day me and my brother got it, that Christmas day, we opened the system up, we plugged it all in, and we turned it on, and this is what we played first. Or rather, I played for a couple of minutes, died a lot, and my brother sat down and did really well at it because that's the kind of person my brother is. But as you can see, Alex Kidd, it's a fun game. The controls can be a little bit loose and sort of skittish at times, but it doesn't really affect the playability because you get used to it. In fact, you get used to it incredibly quickly. It is probably the iconic game for the Master System as well. Like I said, pretty much everyone knows it. And here is Dynamite Ducks, or Dukes, or however you want to pronounce it. We got this to go alongside the Master System, and the only reason we actually bought it is because my brother, who was a couple of years younger than me, really liked the look of the box art. I personally wasn't overly impressed. I wanted something a bit more action-packed, more sort of grown up, but this is what my brother got. And you know what? It actually turned out to be pretty good fun. It's a variation on the scrolling beat 'em up where you play a dude whose girlfriend is kidnapped and is turned into a duck. Because, you know, yeah. And you fight these weird little enemies who all vaguely look like animals. These look like little dogs. And then you've got the moose here with no legs, no arms, just a head and a body bouncing down the street because that's what these things do. Now, Dynamite Dust is a pretty colourful little game here. It looks really good. It was clearly far better looking than anything that was being produced on the 8-bit home computers at the time, and indeed Nintendo's NES. It scrolls smoothly, it's colourful, and sounds not too bad. In fact, it's a pretty good game to have to show off the Master System when I got it, and it's pretty good fun to play. It plays a little strange in that it's a scrolling beat 'em up where you do have this weird into and out of the screen movement. However, when moving in and out of the screen, you can punch up and down instead of just to the side of you, which is a little different. Got to reach a little mid boss here. You see a little bit of sprite flicker there. That was one of the Master System's downfalls, was the limited number of sprites it could display at a time. However, clever programmers did work around these limits, and you ended up with games that looked quite attractive like this. Now, as I said, this was one of the first Master System games I played, and it set a reasonable bar for me for what I expected games to look like. Now, my choice was Basketball Nightmare. I purchased this with the Christmas money that I got off my family. I'd played this at a friend's house, and it combined two loves of mine, basketball and horror movies. As you can see, you play a team of identical humans who are taking on various monsters to, I don't know, I think the plot involves something about getting back to the real world. Again, it's quite a good looking game, has some fun little inserts like when you go for a slam dunk, but the game does suffer from horrendous sprite flicker. Now at the time, you just accepted this. In fact, you didn't really notice it because you were too intent on having fun with the game. However, it is more noticeable these days, especially once we hit the point where the Mega Drive was becoming more prevalent and it showed up where the Master System had its flaws. Now, to me, this looks as good as pretty much anything you may have gotten on the Amiga or Atari ST at the time, and it was certainly a fun game to play. Not really a technical showcase for the Master System, but again, a game I could show to my friends and say, hey, look at this. This looks better than anything you've got on your NES or your Commodore or even your Atari ST. Oh, and here's the little 3-point glitch. If you get down in the corner, you can pretty much bang a 3-point basket in every time if you're playing this game. There we are. That was a look at the Sega Master System, specifically the Master System as I remember it from when I received mine. Now, you may have different memories of the Master System. If you do, leave a little message down below in the comments or go to the Twitter at 81632bit. Let me know what your history with the Master System was. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button. If you've enjoyed this content as well, hit subscribe, show the love, share the video. Make me happy, basically. This is Learned Rob saying until next time, so long.
Oh, isn't life dull?
What we need is a Sega Master Games console. Plug me in and things will really liven up. You can get loads of Sega games like Outrun, Double Dragon, Shinobi,
Ghostbusters! And the graphics, well,
and you can buy extra bits like these.
3D.
Oh, you look
Weird.
Okay, do us a favour. Plug me into a Sega.
Now whack on the patches and I'll get back to sleep.